Siberius, and we about to get serious. It's the real Siberius, making fanboys furious.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to The Real Siberius. On this episode, I want to talk about everyone knows how soft LeBron is, and now they're saying it. On this episode, I want to talk about how the media and players are beginning to speak openly about the weak antics of LeBron. Shout out to the basketball show where I stole this clip from. I've left a link to his video in the description, so please go and check it out if you haven't done so already. So let's check out this clip of the media and players talking about LeBron, and then let's talk about it.
But the thing about it is he's not comfortable being an underdog. It's not something he's done very often in his career, and he really doesn't like it when a team has his number.
Front runners, meaning when things are going great, we all in it.
I mean, he's changed teams in the past a couple of times when he's felt another team has his number.
When things are going bad, they pull apart.
When the Celtics had his number, he went to Miami. When the Warriors had his number, he went to LA.
LeBron has stacked his teams. Let's be realistic.
The Nuggets have had the Lakers' number. What's his move? He doesn't really have a move.
You know, playing with so many guys, he's the guy who has led the charge in terms of super teams being put together.
Yeah. Does he want all the good players? He don't want to compete. He's got to have all the best players on his team. He want everybody. He don't want to compete. He want to be the favorite all the time. It just pisses me off that a guy that great don't want to compete.
It's no way that, just hindsight, I would have never, called up Larry, called up Magic and say, hey, let's get together and play on one team. I mean, that's, in all honesty, I was trying to beat those guys. I don't know if they would have been on my team. If we'd been on our team, obviously, when you look at the dream team, they were on our team, and it wasn't too much of a competitive thing. I'm a competitive guy, and, I like to play against competitive players and, see what happens from there.
He's not comfortable being an underdog. It's not something he's done very often in his career, and he really doesn't like it when a team has his number.
Coward.
So Windhurst starts off by saying that LeBron isn't comfortable being the underdog, and that it isn't something he has done very much in his career, which is insane that people started out having faith in this guy and then continued to have faith in him after he proved beyond a shadow of a doubt he cannot get it done. His inability to get it done is where the lies and narratives all began. He has no help. How many times have we heard this shit? We are going into our third decade of this nonsense, which leads into he makes his teammates better. Well, how the fuck is that possible if he never has enough help? The two cannot go hand in hand, except in one circumstance. LeBron makes his teammates better, but then is so fucking awful himself that he circumvents the teammates he improved and makes his teams lose. Your choice, fanboys. Windhurst then goes on to say that he really doesn't like it when teams have his number. How is this possible since he's the greatest scorer of all time? If his bag is so deep, how on earth are teams getting his number? And then, if he is the greatest player of all time, why is he running for the hills the second a team figures out his number? Fanboys, how do all of these contradictions not stick out like a sore thumb? How do you guys hear all of this shit and not piece it together? I have fucking brain damage and it's clear as day that they are doing everything in their power to talk out of both sides of their mouth. I think it comes down to the fact that they know fanboys do not actually watch basketball or really care about the game or its state at all. So they know if they lie right to your face, you're going to eat it up. You're going to regurgitate their talking points in comment sections without verifying anything. You will parrot back box score without context, which is the only way people could be foolish enough to think that LeBron is even mediocre, let alone great. Because everyone knows as soon as you add context, the whole thing falls apart. We then have D Wade talking about front runners, which is hilarious because he is describing LeBron exactly. However, he isn't specifically talking about LeBron in this clip. I always have to assume they know they're talking about LeBron. They just have to ignore that fact because if they made their points about LeBron, it would be damning to the illusion of his success. It's like when they talk about how Luka didn't play defense and would complain after every call and would whine to the refs. Every single one of those things LeBron did and did it more. But they have to pretend that it didn't happen, even though it was happening on a grander scale. And at least Luka could score consistently and has a bag. The goal of them to point out all of Luka's weaknesses and then ignoring all of his offensive production, and then with a straight face ignore all of the huge liability that LeBron is on offense and defense, and yet never call him out for it. Windhurst then reiterates that LeBron has switched teams to avoid a team that has his number. He even points out the Celtics, who absolutely had his number in his first stint in Cleveland. So he had to form his first super team in Miami because he knew without question that he would never be able to overcome them without a shit ton of help. He also points out when the Warriors had his number and he went to the Lakers, how many times did this guy have to tuck tail and run before fanboys can see the writing on the wall? He is a coward and is terrible at basketball. I've only talked about the first 30 seconds of this clip, and he has been eviscerated by people that constantly glaze for him. It doesn't even matter if this was or wasn't their intention. The reality is they did it. They tore him down and they made it sound easy. We then have Barkley saying LeBron has stacked his teams. Duh. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But let's use this point. He has stacked his teams, and even in doing so, only has 4 rings in 23 years. Can you imagine stacking your teams with all of this talent and only having a 17% win percentage for your career? Holy fuck, that is bad. I would personally rather be like Barkley and have 0 rings, but at least have a modicum of respect for people. 4 rings in 23 years is epic levels of failure. We then have Irving calling out all of his super teams. I actually think we need to change the name of those and call them super failures. The Heat were his absolute best super team, and they only went 500. That's as good as it ever got, and it never got that good again. 500 is the best his final record ever was, and people call him the GOAT. Are you people fucking serious? In your tiny brains, the greatest player of all time's best finals record for his career was 500? Holy fuck, your bar is low. It might as well be underground. Barkley then talks about, does he want all the good players? Does he not want to compete? Well, Chuck, let me answer this one for you. Yes, he wants all the absolute best players from every team. He would lie, cheat, and collude to get them and wouldn't care one bit if it led to more cheap rings. And to answer the second part of your question, no. He has absolutely 0 desire to compete. If he had the ability to simply use his billions to buy rings, he would, and he would spend it all to buy 12, because he would then have the most rings, and despite all of his ring culture's weird, he would be 100% all in on rings being the A-all be-all to greatness. Barkley then says one of the dumbest things I have ever heard, that a guy this great doesn't want to compete. Stop right there, Charles. If he didn't stack his teams and try to acquire all the talent around him, you wouldn't even know his fucking name other than he was the chosen one that didn't do or win shit for the entirety of his career. He isn't great. That's the fucking problem. And people like you suggesting he is stupid and is a huge part of the problem. Define his greatness right now. However, you have to ignore everything he has done on all of his super teams and stacked teams. You've got nothing, because without those stacked teams, without those super teams, without cheating the game, he has accomplished nothing. Jordan then talks about he would never team up with others because he's a competitor and wants to compete against competitors, which is what he always did. Heisenberg then seals it with coward at the end, which is the perfect word to surmise LeBron. Coward. He constantly ducks the smoke and is always on the move to greener pastures. What he doesn't realize is maybe those pastures are greener until you get there. He constantly forgets he is the common denominator of losing. All of his losing teams have one thing in common. They all have LeBron on them, which is what makes them losing teams. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you made it to the end, I certainly appreciate it.